Here is the answer up front. 3 American cities were built out of food. On Christmas Day in 1865, Chicago opened the Union Stockyards and turned itself into the meat capital of the planet. Beer bankrolled Milwaukee and St. Louis. And a candy man named Milton Hershey poured an entire town out of melted chocolate. Cities feel permanent, like they were always standing there. But somebody paid for the concrete. And a lot of the time, the money came from food. Start with Chicago. Before 1865, the city's animal pens were scattered and filthy. So 9 railroad companies pooled about $1 million and built one giant yard on the swampy south side. They called it the Union Stockyards. Within a few decades, it sprawled across roughly 475 acres, employed around 25,000 people, and handled millions of hogs and cattle every single year. The poet Carl Sandburg pinned the city's nickname on it in 1914. He called Chicago the hog butcher for the world. And here is the part that leaked out into every factory since. Packers like Gustavus Swift hung carcasses on an overhead rail and slid them past worker after worker, each man making one cut. Henry Ford came to look, borrowed the idea, and flipped it into the moving assembly line. The car came off the killing floor, now the beer cities. In Milwaukee, German immigrants turned brewing into the whole economy. Frederick Pabst, Joseph Schlitz, Valentin Blatz, and Frederick Miller each ran a giant brewery in the same town. By 1892, Pabst was pushing out about 1 million barrels a year, the biggest brewer in America. Schlitz sold itself as the beer that made Milwaukee famous. Then head south to St. Louis. A former soap maker named Eberhard Anheuser bought a struggling brewery, and his son-in-law Adolphus Busch took the reins. In 1876, they launched Budweiser, loaded it onto refrigerated railcars, and shipped it coast to coast. Anheuser-Busch grew into the largest brewery in the country. Thousands of jobs, whole neighborhoods, and beer baron mansions you can still tour today. All of it floated on beer. The last one is the stranger. In 1903, candy maker Milton Hershey broke ground on a chocolate factory in the middle of Pennsylvania farmland, near a crossroads called Dairy Church. There was almost nothing out there, so he built the town too. Streets named Chocolate Avenue and Cocoa Avenue. Homes for workers, a trolley line, a bank, a park, even a zoo. In 1909, he and his wife Catherine opened a school for orphan boys, and years later, Hershey signed nearly his entire fortune over to it. The town took his name. It is still called Hershey, Pennsylvania, and on the right day, it still smells like chocolate. One man's candy bar poured the foundation of a whole city. So next time a city feels permanent, like it was carved out of solid stone, check the receipts. Chicago was butchered into being. Milwaukee and St. Louis were brewed. Hershey was poured straight from a chocolate vat. The food came first, and the streets grew up around it. New food history every week. Stick around and stay hungry.